You want to go see it?
Yeah. Look at that. I like touching. Touch.
Good morning. It's Friday. Cheers. I have about an hour before I have to go pick up my daughter from preschool, so I thought I would go ahead and record a podcast episode. I think I mentioned in the last episode that I was feeling very festive. I don't usually get into the spirit of the season until much closer to Christmas Eve and Christmas, but it sort of hit me mid-November this year. I don't know if it's because I'm nesting because we have another baby on the way, or if it was because we had an incredibly hot and long summer and I was miserable most of the time because I was in the first trimester and I was just really sick. But I have completely embraced the holiday season this year. There's just something really exciting about seeing the holidays through the eyes of children, and having my daughter around has kind of helped me remember what it was like to enjoy Christmas with my family and celebrate our traditions when I was a kid. So I think what's going on is that I'm starting to kind of contemplate how we celebrate our traditions in this family and the things that I want our kids to remember and the atmosphere I want to create and the things I want to make that they can take with them when they grow up and have children of their own, if they want children, or if they, even if they don't want to take anything or pass anything along, just helping to create really fun, beautiful memories is kind of in the forefront of my mind right now. So I think that's really reinvigorated my creative sense of purpose for the season, and also just kind of setting up our own traditions, because I remember what we used to do every year when we were kids, and I remember that sense of comfort from the routine of it and just the anticipation. And I'm sure there was all kinds of family drama and things that I didn't pay attention to back when I was really little, but I remember the good things. I remember a sense of warmth, and I want to recreate that and make it really, really nice and cozy here for the holidays. And I am kind of implementing that sense of thoughtfulness to all of our traditions, not just those around this time of year. It's something that I'm finding myself doing quite a lot. So anyway, I've been working on a lot of holiday-inspired projects, a lot of whimsical knitting. It's not typically my jam, but I have been enjoying it quite a lot. I have some other things on the needles and some other things in the works, but I am trying to kind of live in the moment right now and stick to all the holiday-related things, because I'm only going to work on these holiday-related projects until Christmas, or maybe a few days after Christmas. But as soon as New Year's hits, I have all these other plans that I've been making, and so I'm going to switch gears abruptly as soon as the new year comes around. So my first work in progress lives in this project bag, which I've shown you before. It's one made by Olivia of This Handmade Life. And it's these little gnomes. Hello. These two are probably my favorite. I like this guy with the yellow hat. So this is a paid-for pattern called Never Not Gnoming by Sarah Shira of Imagine Landscapes. And I believe that the pattern gives you instructions for making 3 different size gnomes. The small size, which you can turn into ornaments, and she gives you tips on how to do that, a medium size, and a larger size. And so far I've only made 7 of these little ornament sized gnomes. And I am planning on making more of these at some point in the ornament size, but I'm also planning on making some bigger ornaments too, just to have around the house. These guys can hang on the tree or can go on gift bags for Christmas gifts, but I want to have them just all over the house. And I think they're really great. I first saw these on the Charm of It podcast with Eva, and I think it was a few months ago, and I knew right away that I was going to be making a ton of them for Christmas. So I went to knitpicks.com and I got a whole bunch of yarn. This is the palette line, which is specifically developed for color work. The palette line has both solid and heathered colors, and I knew that I was going to want to use only heathered colors. So I just purchased, I think I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 balls of Christmassy colors in heathered colorways. I kept all the ball labels, so I'll try to go through and list all the colors on my Ravelry project page for this. But yeah, I just picked a few colors that I thought would be really great for Christmas. And I'm going to be using this yarn not just for my gnomes, but also for more knitted baubles. For instance, several years ago I made a bunch of these little knitted baubles, and I've been wanting to make more, especially now that I have a little bit more experience with color work. I thought it would be fun to make different kinds of patterns and stuff. And I'm planning on making some knitted stars and maybe little tiny knitted sweaters or socks. I just want to have knitted things all over the house for Christmas. And it's not going to be something that I can get done this year. It's going to be kind of an ongoing project, something that I continue to pick up every Christmas. So I'm just going to have this yarn on hand for making all the holiday things. And I think that kind of taking that like slow approach to it is going to really work for me. So hopefully. But yeah, I love these little gnomes. They are so cute. One thing I did want to mention about them is that in order for me to make them without going insane, because it's such small circumference knitting, I had to sort of assembly line it. So I made all the hats first, and then I would have a session where I attached all the bodies and stuffed them. And then I had to take a night where I made all the little arms and the beards and the noses. And then I took another night where I attached everything together. And for some reason, that just made the work a little bit less tedious. So, because it's very fiddly. But the end result is so worth it. I think they're so cute. So one thing that I wanted to mention is that when you close up your gnomes, they're knitted in this sort of egg-like shape. You can see from the back. And they're quite round, which is adorable. But I wanted my gnomes to be able to sit up on their own on a shelf or something. So at some point I started kind of experimenting with the way that I wove in that end at the very end. Like you weave that thread through the circle, and then I started experimenting with finding ways to make the circle kind of pucker. And anyway, it just kind of helps the gnomes sit upright on surfaces. So I'm going to use this method with the larger gnomes as well, because I like that. And I love that their arms are just kind of sporadic. So yeah, those are my gnomes. Ugh. I shouldn't throw things on the ground because then I have to pick them up. So this next project, I showed you some of it last week, is my Christmas stocking. One of them. And I'm making these out of leftover Plötulopi from my Ito shawl. Last week I think I was only down to here. So I have since added a garter short row heel and a garter toe. And I'm not using a pattern for these, I'm just going with my vanilla sock recipe. So I casted on 64 stitches with larger needles, and I can't remember which needles I'm using. They are, oh no, drop stitches. Just a minute, crisis. This wouldn't be a proper podcast episode without some drop stitches, am I right? I'm using US 5s, which are 3.75 millimeters, I believe. Yeah, so quite a bit bigger than your standard sock needle. As I'm knitting this, I am trying to be quite careful and gentle with it, so I have a feeling that my gauge is a lot looser than it typically is. And but I'm really liking the lightweight fabric. I got tons of suggestions in my last video from you guys about different methods I could use to help reinforce the stockings, which, by the way, thank you so much. That was incredibly helpful. I'm leaning towards either lining the stockings with a knitted fabric, or a couple people mentioned that I could full the fabric, which is, I guess, a little bit more gentle than felting. I need to look into that. I don't know anything about it. So I'm going to do some research on that, and then I'm going to choose something between the two. But either way, these stockings are going to get reinforced, because I just have a feeling that if I don't reinforce them, I'm going to regret it. Because the yarn is so... I mean, it's so much more durable when it's actually knitted into a fabric, but yeah, I just don't want something to snag. So after I finished that stocking, I got started on another one, and this one I'm knitting in seed stitch. So I casted on the same number of stitches for the cuff, but when I started the seed stitch section, I forgot that seed stitch expands so much more than stockinette does. And I think I knitted to about right here before I was looking at it and was like, no, these are in no way going to match one another. And I really want them to at least have the visual appearance of being somewhat similar in size. So I ended up very, very gently ripping out my work back to the cuff. And then I decreased 4 stitches on this side and 4 stitches on this side. Decreasing 8 stitches seems to have done the trick. It now is about the same width as the other stocking. And last night I added the garter heel, and now I just have to finish the foot and add the toe, and then seal up these little holes right here. And I'm really, really, really hoping to get 3 stockings knocked out before Christmas. So I have one more to go, and then I'll be making another one next year. That's the plan, because I really don't think I'm going to be able to get all 4 done this year. But who knows? Who knows? If I want to make 4, I'm probably going to have to order more Plötulopi. So it was a little over a year ago when my friend was between freelance gigs. She had just finished up a big project and had some time before she was going to move on to the next one. And she thought that it would be fun to work on a knitting project in the meantime. So she bought a kit from Wool and the Gang for a Koselig blanket, which is a blanket made out of really big, like, roving and giant needles, and she chose one that was made using the herringbone stitch. So she was over here working on it one day with me. We were having kind of a craft day together. So I was watching her make this blanket, and the problem that she was having was that the needles that Wool and the Gang provides, which are these straights, for the number of stitches they have you cast on, they're really too short. And she was really wrestling with it. And with doing the herringbone stitch, which is a little bit finicky, especially if you're a newer knitter, it just wasn't going very well for her. So she put the project down for a while, and when her birthday rolled around, her husband asked me what he should get her for her birthday. So I told him that he might want to look into getting her circulars in the same size, because obviously then you can fit more stitches on comfortably on this cable. But by the time she got her circular needles, I think that she was back to work, and just kind of the whole project, yeah, it just wasn't going to happen. So I told her to go ahead and bring it over, because I was really curious what it would be like to work with such big yarn and needles and everything. And so I've been working on it. So I am about 2 balls in to this, and I'll try to get some different footage for you, because it's kind of hard to see the stitch with the window in the back. But yeah, I'm about 2 balls in, and I'm not really following the pattern that they give you, because what they tell you to do is to knit 2 panels and to sew them together. And I think they do that because these straight needles are so short, and they know that you can't fit more than, like, I don't know, 50 stitches on those needles at one time. So what I ended up doing is, because I had the circulars, I just casted on 100 stitches, and I'm just going to knit until I have just enough yarn to make the fringes on the ends. And I think it's going to be a really good size, and it's starting to get to the point where I can wear it while I'm knitting on it, and it's very warm and smushy. And I think that this color is going to be awesome in their house, because they have a lot of yellows, and I don't know, it's just really bright, and I think it's going to complement her style really well. So this is another project that I'm really hoping to get done by New Year's, because I want to completely shift gears after that point, and I'll explain a lot more about that in the next video. But I don't think it's going to take me very long to finish this blanket, because I can get 2 balls easily knitted into the blanket in a day without too much trouble. It is a bit of an arm workout to knit herringbone stitch on such large needles. I find that my typical way of holding yarn and tensioning and things like that does not apply. I have to sort of modify the way I knit, and it's just kind of a different, it almost feels like a different craft. But it's really fun. It's not the type of project I would typically choose for myself, but I don't know, maybe one day if I have a sheep farm or something and I get some roving, I might want to make a big giant herringbone blanket for myself too. So as I mentioned before, I have some other projects on the needles and some other plans in the works. I have some natural dyeing I've been doing, but I think I'm just going to leave it here for today and share all of that stuff in the next episode. I'm running a little bit low on time. I have to leave in just a few minutes to go get my daughter. So I think we're just gonna make this a Christmas special. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful holiday season. If you don't celebrate Christmas or the holidays, then I hope that you are staying cozy and warm and enjoying your December. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.